So there's a very famous story of when he went to Xerox PARC. Do you know this one?
If you want to accomplish your goals, the best way to get there is help your customers accomplish their goals.
So we have to find a way to construct a narrative about ourselves that empowers us, that lifts us up.
Rise and shine, it's Entspresso time. I wake up every morning.
Espresso, keep me going.
I wake up every morning. Grab your coffee and sip on today's message from Simon Sinek. Also, if you want to have more confidence, check out my free 254 Confidence series. The link is in the description below.
You get the benefit of hearing what everybody else has to think before you render your opinion.
It's like a hammer. You can use it broadly or narrowly. You can build a table, you can build a house. It's the same tool.
So was Steve Jobs playing the finite game because he was crushing the competition, or was he playing the infinite game because he just did his own thing?
So Jobs had a very clear vision, and it was to give the individual the power to stand up to Big Brother. He was at his heart a rebel. He grew up in Northern California during the Vietnam War, which is where the beginning of the anti-establishment revolution sort of started. Yeah. And that was his childhood. And so he really stood for the individual standing up to the man.
And he had a big spiritual side. He was a Buddhist at times.
Yeah. And if you look at the decisions he made decisions like this. He ran decisions through his vision before he got to the interests, right? So there's a very famous story of when he went to Xerox PARC. Do you know this one? So Jobs, they just come off the success of the Apple I and the Apple II. It's already a big company. He's already well known. He's already the darling of business. And their next big push is going to be into a technology they called the Lisa. That was their next computer that they were going to launch. And just as executives do, they visit each other's companies. And Jobs and a few of his colleagues went to visit Xerox PARC. And Xerox showed them a new technology that they had invented called the graphic user interface, right? Now, remember, Jobs believed in the individual standing up to Big Brother. So the reason they made their computers beautiful was not arbitrary. It's because if they were pretty looking, you'd put them in the living room. If they're ugly, you put them in the basement. And you're more likely to use something that's in the living room than if it's in the basement, right? The reason you make them simple is because more people can then use them. And so when he saw this thing called the graphic user interface, he thought this is a better technology. It's a leapfrog to make it easier for more individuals to access the power of the personal computer than what we have in the Lisa.
So that's an infinite game because he's thinking about what's right for the long term rather than what his competition
And as they left Xerox PARC, Jobs says, we have to invest in this. And his colleagues said, you're crazy. We've invested millions of dollars, millions of man hours already in the Lisa. If we do this, if we invest in this, we're going to blow up our own company. To which Jobs replied, better we should blow it up than someone else. That decision became the Macintosh. That decision was the Macintosh, of which, remember, Windows is an interface designed to copy the Macintosh. In other words, he completely changed the way computers work to the point where now any individual can easily use a computer. And he always made decisions that way. He made decisions always empowering the individual. So he was asked a question about the movie industry, cinemas, and the decline of cinemas. And he replied that the cinemas were making the same mistake, the movie industry was making the same mistake that the music industry made, which is the music industry falsely believed that their customer was Tower Records and Virgin Megastore, and not the person who actually spent money on buying the album. He says, you've confused your customer with your distribution channel.
First off, I love that we're diving into a more hardcore business topic. Ivan, the guy on my team who does the research for these videos, he submits clips to me. And they're usually mindset, goal setting, motivation, inspirational, that kind of tactic. And I saw this one, like, ooh, this is different. This is actually getting into business tactics. I like it. And so immediate action, I sent him an email saying, Ivan, I like it, man. Thank you for the spicy, different video to kick us off here this morning for Believe Nation. My thoughts, I think you need to be your customer's chief goal officer. I think if you want to win in business, you have to understand your customers. You become their chief goal officer. If you want to accomplish your goals, the best way to get there is help your customers accomplish their goals. If you're helping them, you're solving problems, guess what? You're going to make money. They're going to pay you to do it. Now you have to combine what they want right? You're the chief goal officer. This is what they want, and combine it with what you love doing. Can you help them solve that problem? Are you the person to solve it, or do you want to refer somebody else off to them to solve that problem? When you can mix those things together, the thing you absolutely love doing with what the customer so desperately wants, that's when you start to win. So look at this YouTube channel as an example. The content is a mix of what you guys like and what I like. It has to be that mix. From the beginning, the content that I was putting up became requests from people who were emailing me, who then started leaving comments and say, hey, can you do it on this? Or I have this kind of question. Hey, can you do this kind of video? And if I like it, I have something to say, great. A lot of the stuff I may not have anything to say, so I don't do it. But whenever there's that mix, we make the video. Even Simon, how did I learn about Simon? From you guys. From people who are leaving comments and say, hey, Evan, you should do a video on Simon Sinek. When you first left those comments, I had no idea who he was. I was pretty ignorant. I didn't know a lot of people. I still don't know a lot of people. I had no idea who he was. We did a little bit of research on him, said, wow, this is pretty cool. I like this guy. Yeah, we could totally do a top 10 on him, right? You wanted it. I liked it. The match is there. Let's make the video. And now that video, I didn't expect it to do so well. It's one of my top 5 videos. It's got, I think, 5 million views or something. When I recorded it, I was sick. I was sick. I had my baseball hat on backwards. I'm sitting down in a chair. I think there's a little graphic on the screen that says Evan is sick this week. And regardless, videos goes up. I never thought it would be a top 5 video on my channel. If I did, maybe I would have waited so I wasn't sick. Or maybe I would have done it anyway. I probably still would have just done it anyway, just because. But I never thought it would take off like it did. And so it's that combination. What I love with what you guys love. I'm trying to be your chief goal officer and then match that in a way that I can contribute content to you. Look at what I've done with my YouTube channels now. I split them up. We've got 7 different channels. Part of that's based off of how hopefully YouTube will rank my channel differently. And part of it's based off of your feedback saying, Evan, I like some of these videos, but I don't like some of the other ones. I wish you had a channel just for the Entspresso series and just for the top 10 series. And so at the end of the day, it still has to work. This is an experiment. We're, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks in by the time this video comes up. And we'll see if it ends up working out or not. But the way to test it is to test it. Like, you won't know until you go off and do it. And so by paying attention to the feedback and the comments, I make decisions. And it has to be something that then I like too, right? And so you have to get close to your customers. Stop letting people get in between you and your customers. You need to have a relationship with your customers. People have to feel like you know them. And you have to feel like you know them too, to actually know what's going inside their head, so you can provide products or services that can help them. So I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I think will really help. Step number 1 is be their chief goal officer. It is your job to think about, what is my customer's number 1 goal and how can I help them accomplish that? Maybe if that even means totally changing my business model around. Making your business not for you, or not just for you, but that mix, right? So just start asking yourself that question. Think about a customer, think about somebody who's bought from you recently, and ask yourself that question. How can I be their chief goal officer? What do they want out of life? What do they want in their business? How can I help them solve that problem? Step number 2 is pay attention to feedback. There's so much feedback coming in now online. You get so many opportunities. For me, I want every comment on YouTube responded to. And I have 2 full-time people now who are responding to my comments across my social media platforms. And they save the content that I need to see. They save the comments that are directed directly at me, that I need to see, that I need to respond to. And most of them, they respond to themselves. So for example, hey, Evan, you should do a top 10 on XYZ. Perfect. I don't need to see that yet. It goes to my team. They look at the research. They find out if there's enough content on that person. And if there is, they'll bring it to me and we'll make a decision and move forward from there. Most people, when they start building up a YouTube channel, they got there by responding to everybody's comments. But then at some point it becomes unsustainable. If I was sitting in the comments responding to every comment, I would run out of time. Like there just isn't enough time. Even if that was my full-time job, there's not enough time. I have 2 full-time people who are doing comments across my platform, which means I'm creating 0 content if I'm just now responding to comments. And so most YouTubers at some point just give up on it. They just give up. They say, okay, you know what? I'm going to respond to comments in the first 30 minutes of my video going up, or I'm going to spend half an hour a day responding to comments, and that's it. Or I'm only going to respond to the comments with people who have 100,000 subscribers or more, the important people, right? That's all I'm going to respond to. People set their own rules. I think it's all flawed. You scale your business to pay attention to feedback. any company, as you're growing, sooner or later the phones are going to be ringing off the hook, right? It doesn't mean that you have to answer them, but somebody does. You hire somebody, you build your team. You need to pay attention to the feedback, whether that's comments on social media, whether that's reviews online, whether that's emails coming into your accounts. You have to pay attention to the feedback. If you're going to be somebody's chief goal officer, you got to see now, are you doing the work? Are you helping them? Are you getting results, right? Is your project working? Even this kind of video, we're tackling a more hardcore business topic than the usual mindset motivation stuff. Maybe you guys love it. Maybe you hate it. Maybe you're like, hey, Evan, never do this kind of video again. I want mindset every morning, not this hardcore business stuff. Dump it. I don't know. We'll see what you guys say. I'll see what's happening in the comments and we'll make a decision whether we do more of the more business tactical stuff. I like it. It's fun for me, but it has to be something you guys want and need as well. So step number 1 is be their chief goal officer. Step number 2 is pay attention to feedback. And step number 3 is go say hi. Just go say hi. Don't sit up on some ivory tower and lose the connection to your customers. You have to go say hi. I love meeting entrepreneurs. I just came back from this 90-day, 23-city tour, and almost every day I'm meeting different entrepreneurs. Like, I like being in the trenches. I'm still now going off and making content and writing books and doing all this other stuff, but you can't actually help people unless you're with them. And you might have been with them a year ago or 5 years ago, or whenever you started your company, you were one of them, but then you've evolved and become some other animal. You need to go back and be that person again. You need to be in there with them. Go say hi, shake their hands. The feedback that you get is more big data. If 5 of you guys say, I love this video, and 500 say this video sucks, great, we won't do this kind of content likely again. That's more bigger data. The saying hi, the shaking people's hands is qualitative. I guarantee you, if you spent time every month or every week with your customers, saying hi face to face, going to see them in business, take them out for coffee, asking them about what their problems are, you will gain so much insight that will generate so many new ideas to help you explode your company. You have to make time for it on a consistent basis in your business. Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, question of the day, I want to know, do you want just the mindset and motivation stuff every day? Or do you want us to dive into specific business things you can do to help grow your company as well? Let me know. Put in the comments below.
People get the do part. They understand their actions should be actions that take them towards what they want to accomplish. But people often miss the most important part, which is only to believe things that move you towards your goals. And I see people every day that tell themselves a story about themselves that they are worthless, that they're meaningless, that they're pointless, that their friends and family would be better off if they just died. So we have to find a way to construct a narrative about ourselves that empowers us, that lifts us up, even though we make mistakes, even though we fall down, even though we're never going to get things right all the time, and even though terrible things happen to us. Or maybe we do terrible things. But in that, the erosion of the self, that's the danger. The erosion of the self, that is the danger. And when I talk to people about the 80-20 principle, 80% of the time you should be focused on the things that you love, the beautiful things that you want to bring to this world, the beautiful things that are already in the world. And 20% of the time you should be kicking yourself in your ass and saying you can do better. It's such a powerful idea. But the problem is when people get to the 20%, they forget that it's only supposed to be 20% of the time. And that it's meant to be these acute moments where you're pushing yourself to be more, to do more. It isn't so you can tear yourself down. That's why you have to do and believe that which moves you towards your goals. And if thinking that you're a worthless piece of shit moves you to your goals somehow, then fine, do it. But I can't literally fathom a universe in which that would be a logical way to move forward. So I'm going to give you the magic words that you need right now to never fall prey to that. Believing I'm worthless does not serve me, and I don't do things that don't serve me. Repeat that in your head every time you begin to disparage yourself.
If you want to improve your public speaking skills, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
It's the one thing nobody talks about in speaking.